they always say like every single character has a purpose. Every single character fits a piece of that puzzle.
I feel like even if you don't book the job, you're already there.
Yeah, 100%.
So like, might as well just have fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
To be and to say to myself that this is my time. This is my year.
Again, when you stop caring that things happen for you.
Yeah. After that moment, my whole life has drastically changed in terms of how short life is. You know what? If not now, then when? I think those are the people that don't necessarily book is because they come with a lot of ego. Short! That's what it was!
Again,
life is short, seize every opportunity. If you have a slight interest in whatever it is, do it. Or else you're gonna live life in regret. If you're relaxed, your body shows it. And then you'll feel more confident.
If like Coca-Cola were to hire a model, I don't think the height of the guy matters whether someone's gonna buy the Coca-Cola or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I had to pee so badly at one point.
In the middle of the scene.
In the middle of the scene. And I remember just standing but again, I think you learn, and that's how you become a better actor too, right? You learn from your experiences. You know, you can't help it. You can't help to be upset. You're human, right?
Yeah. I mean, of course you feel something.
You have to take everything as a win.
Yes.
And again, life is short. That's my
Everything.
motto for everything.
Yes, I think that's
the... Life is full of all these wonders. You want to make sure that you do stop and smell the roses. And I kept reminding myself that, again, like, life is short. Seize the opportunity. You're here. You got this.
What's up, guys? Welcome back with another episode of Breakthrough. It is finally here. The man I've been wanting, I've been trying to get. He's been escaping us. He's been traveling all over the world, but finally we got a hold of him. Julian Lao, everybody. Julian Lao.
I like how I'm giving myself my own applause.
No, man, honestly, thank you for joining me, man. Like, I've been wanting to have you for like a little while now. But I just want to, like, before we actually get started, because a lot of people sometimes ask, why is the podcast called Breakthrough? And again, if you have like watched some of my episodes, it's just something I always like, start with. But the reason why it's called Breakthrough is just because we want to inspire people just like you who is listening, who has a dream, who has a goal, who has something that they want to they want to do in life. And I firmly believe that by hearing or by listening to someone who's been there or who's like, on the way to like achieving something meaningful, well, it can actually inspire someone to actually go after their dreams. And that's actually why it's called Breakthrough, because we actually we often like, associate breakthrough to like a big thing in your career, like a big role, like a lead role, like a series rep or something. But a breakthrough is something as small as just, realizing that you could like, attempt anything or like, just like the small wins, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because we were actually just talking about this before you
yeah,
started
exactly.
this. And you told me this like career pivot thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Anyways, thank you for joining me. So I'm going to start off with, because I know that we met like at Haven Studios, right? Like this is where we kind of like met. We were like, did like acting classes together. I just want to know, like, how did you like, was that your first like time acting, or did you do some training before that?
No, yeah, so
like, take us through like
my whole journey through acting.
Yeah.
So I'll say it here, I'm 31 years old. So I have lived life a little bit, but I was acting without film and television. I was acting like in high school, like through acting class, like since I was grade 8. And I think for myself, being Asian, being queer, especially when you're younger, I didn't know about being queer and stuff like that. I didn't really know who I was, and I felt like I had a really hard time expressing myself and being able to have a voice. So when I was in high school and I was introduced to drama class, that really, I think that really awakened my curiosity in terms of not just acting, but being able to have a space and a medium for that matter to actually just be me, express myself, whether it's you're okay to be sad, you're okay to be angry, to be happy, or whatever it may be. So I was in drama class.
These are normal feelings. That,
exactly, that we all try to work through when we're younger and whatnot. So, and again, like I think at my time or at my age, especially on media, through film and television, there wasn't actually representation for a lot of Asians, for that matter too, right? A lot of Asians that were in film and television at that time, I would say, were your stereotypical, roles, whatever. They were, whether they were a janitor or they worked at a clerk or whatever it may be, but they had these thick Asian accents or whatever it may be that you never really saw yourself as one, right? Or even just being gay for that matter too, being queer. Like the only thing that I remember seeing at the time was like Queer for the Straight Guy. They were very,
So how long ago we're talking?
This was when I was in high school, like 2006, 2008.
Okay.
So this is,
Right.
you know, quite a while back and everything like that. And
Mhm.
being queer or gay, it had so much stigma, negative stigma towards
Yeah,
it.
it was a little more.
Yeah. So I think within that, and you know, drama class really helped allow myself to kind of figure out who I was, and I really
Love it.
yeah. So I really fell in love with that.
Yeah.
Drama class. I was a peer tutor, so when I was in like grade 11 and grade 12,
Mhm.
I was teaching younger students in grade 8 and grade 9.
Oh, yeah.
You know how to be an actor per se.
Yes.
I was like in every school play. I was very, very, very involved in the theater community when I was in high school.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
You've
There you
been
go,
for a
right?
little while now.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm hearing this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I love it
I
so
love it.
much, because it was able to give me the space to, again, I keep saying it, to express myself.
Mhm.
And also for people that were younger at that time,
Yeah.
to kind of help guide them, to help guide them to have a voice. I
Mhm.
found also very meaningful. I love being a teacher. I
Mhm.
told myself if I was to do something else after high school to
Yeah.
where I am now, I would have been a drama teacher. I
Mhm.
really want to be a drama teacher,
Yeah.
but that path didn't align for me, unfortunately. But
Mhm.
yeah, so I did that. Then after high school, it was that conversation of, what are you going to be after? What do you want to do in terms of your career?
Mhm.
The stereotypical role is to go to university, kind of find a 9 to 5 job.
Yes,
But
this is the societal.
expectations,
standard.
the standards and everything.
Yeah.
So I did. I did that to appease my parents, appease society, but
Mhm.
I also wanted to make sure I'm exercising some form of ability to do me.
Mhm.
So I
Were your parents supportive of this?
no.
So you were doing this behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes. Yeah, they barely attended my
Yeah.
my theater class. Oh, all
Yeah.
that stuff. But
So all they knew that they thought that you were going down the
Yeah.
normal path and
Exactly.
you're gonna have like an actual job.
Exactly. So
Okay.
I found myself an agent Stoic right after high school. I was
Oh,
auditioning
goodness.
behind the scenes from
I
school.
just hope that your mom and dad are not watching.
I
this.
know exactly, right? But before auditions were in person, and we didn't have Uber back then too. So let me tell you, I was
Yeah.
taking the bus to like North Van, to all these different like natural
Oh my
film
God.
studios and whatnot to
Yeah.
audition in person for casting directors and
Mhm.
whatnot.
Yeah.
It was a whole different feel to where it is now. So I was kind of doing that all throughout my
Yeah.
my I would guess like 18, 19, early 20s to when COVID hit, when everything turned to self-tape. But
Yeah.
that was kind of my acting career in a
I love
in
it.
a lump sum of training and how I started.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how did you find your way to Haven?
You know what? I have taken. I'm not trying to sound boastful or whatever, but I've taken a lot of acting classes, and I was at a certain point where I was like, okay, I've done a lot of classes. I kind of feel like, I felt comfortable with how I analyzed my auditions and my scenes and whatnot. But then I was through at this kind of mental point where I felt really bored
Yeah.
within just life.
Mm.
Working 9 to 5 and whatnot too. I just felt very bored. I felt like I wasn't necessarily doing something for me. That I was like, I had to take acting class again, because that's going to be something to exercise, yes, your acting ability, and to help your career within that, but to also just feel fulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went back.
That's ultimately what it comes down to.
Exactly, right? Life is short. So I went back to Haven because originally I did a workshop a few years prior with this incredible actor, Brandon McLaren, I believe his name was.
Nice.
He was and She's the Man. I love him. He was great. So I did a workshop with him.
Love it.
And then they reached out. I think I really want to take a class with Ben. So we did that class together.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, but very stressful with the Shakespeare part.
Yes. I remember in that class, because obviously like a lot of us were like, we were getting like acquainted with each other, and like some of us like it was a new environment. I felt, you know what I mean? So that's nice. I was actually like looking at IMDb right here. I was like people's IMDb.
Oh yeah.
I just feel like it's a good starting point.
Yeah.
And you had like quite a good year, 2024, right? It's like 2023 started a bit slow.
Yeah.
But 2024 kind of like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it took off.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? I think this is what my tip would be for other actors as well, is to really have passion.
Yeah.
And have that passion, that purpose, and that goal that you want to succeed within your career, whatever that career may be. And if it is acting, go grab the bull by its horns with that, right?
Yeah.
And you have to have this real mental space in your head to say that I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna book this role. And once that kind of happens, I feel like there is a different energy that shifts within your body that does allow you to actually get more auditions, to book, to get shortlisted, whatever it may be, right? So I found that at this point,
because you get that
successful.
Yeah, no, definitely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, like once you book the first one, especially the first one, it's that validation that you're
on the right path.
Yeah, that you're looking for, right? Like that, you know, you're putting in so much work, and often we don't hear back.
Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate that it is that way.
Yeah.
But so when you do land something, this is kind of a moment where you're like, okay, like I mean, what I'm doing is actually not that bad. Like, it is working.
Yeah, and then it gives you that extra motivation. Like you're on set, after not being on set for a while, you're like, wow. This is great. I love crafties.
I love it.
Right?
And I think, like you said, you were in Kelowna, right?
Yes, I was in Kelowna. I just filmed, MOW there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The cast was great and whatnot. But
love it. What do you think of Kelowna as a whole?
Let me tell you.
That's a whole other story, right?
That's a whole other story, yeah. Like, I've only been to Kelowna to party and then I get to film, and let me tell you, after filming I partied, so
yes.
Yeah. I went on the bus. I went I went back to Vancouver the day after with I think 1.5 hours of sleep, and then I went straight to another birthday party. Yeah. So it was
You know, like they say, like New York is a city that never sleeps.
Yeah, no, it's Vancouver.
I know, but I want to say like Julian is the guy who never sleeps.
Oh yeah, I don't sleep. Can you see my eye bags right now? Yeah.
I love it. Good. Do you feel like you're you know, when you actually when you get a breakdown for a new audition, right? Do you feel like if it's like a one-liner, I mean, sometimes it's obviously longer, you know, a couple pages.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you actually do some sort of script work before you attempt the actual audition, or you just or do you feel like one-liners are not worth it, and you know?
No, I think
you treat every audition like
exactly the same. Yeah. And again, I think when you go back to acting class, they always say every single character has a purpose. Every single character fits a piece of that puzzle, right? So I think regardless of if it's an actor role, principal, whatever it may be, they do serve that storyline. And again, I think for ourselves, we have to. We're not in the positions just yet per se to pick and choose our roles. And I think for myself, I feel very fortunate, and I have a lot of gratitude and appreciation for these casting directors wanting to even audition me for any role it may be, right? Exactly, and if you don't necessarily want this actor role, whatever, kill it. So then you can still impress that casting director to be like, you know what, I still want Julian for this other role. Or every time Julian auditions for any role that it may be, whether it's actor role, whatever, he always goes tenfold with it, and this is why he deserves something else, right? So yeah.
I feel like also I mean, just to kind of tie the knot with what you were saying, I mean also especially when we go in the audition room, you know, more often than now. Yeah. I feel like even if you don't book the job, you're already there.
Yeah, 100%.
So might as well just have fun.
Yeah. Well, that's again, we love to be actors. We have that space, that opportunity to act. Yeah. And we should be so grateful for that, right? Yeah.
I think also the best. I don't know who said this, but I think one of my friends, but someone in my entourage actually brought a really good analogy. Yeah. But an audition is basically an opportunity for you. I mean, to put on a show, it's like a 30-second, a minute show where you are basically the center of attention. Yeah. Right. So it is a show basically, right? Yeah. Like you're auditioning for someone. There's people watching, and so I mean, they're watching you. Yeah. So might as well put a performance. Yeah. Right?
Exactly.
So
Well, I think one advice that one of my acting coaches taught me as well is that every single scene has a beginning, middle, and end. Yeah. Right. Whether it's again, if you're auditioning for an actor role and it's just a scene that's literally 10 seconds long, there's still a beginning, middle, and end. So compared to everything else. So
I mean that's basically the same thing about anything in life. I mean, even this podcast right now has a beginning, middle, and end. Yeah. There's gonna be something we're gonna be doing after this. This ain't just it. Okay, we're done here. Yeah. Time to go to Mars or something. Yeah. But I mean, Phil, this is basically how we behave in life, right? There's always something that the moment before, the moment after, we're coming from somewhere, we're going at. We're going to someone after. I want to go back to those bookings for a bit, just real quick. Because obviously you had like a really, really good like 2024. Like that year was phenomenal for you, right? So like it kind of took off. What do you think changed in your acting process that made you book more? Like, did you realize that you changed something in your routine that made you like see the bookings coming? Like, what do you think changed?
Yeah, I think it's two things. One is, again, as I mentioned, that I very much shifted my mindset to be and to say to myself that this is my time. This is my year.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do this, I'm doing this now.
Yeah.
And I found that to be so powerful within just how you then carried yourself. Yeah. And again, if you get an audition or if I were to see it come through my email, I'd be like, I booked this. You know, and just saying, I booked it. I already booked it. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
And I found that actually very much helped. You know?
Yeah.
And especially for like,
you kind of convince yourself that you booked it just to elevate yourself a little
100%.
Yeah.
And there are certain like auditions that came through and I fell in love with the character and the script.
Yeah.
And I, instead of having that, and this is where my second point is going to be, is I didn't want to go desperate. You know, you don't want to be desperate. And I was actually, when I was on set for an undisclosed role, that it's not on my IMDb just yet.
Actually, it is.
But I'm like, but you know about this role. I told you about this role. Even like a lot of the cast members that are very much working actors and they flew around the world to be here for that project, they even said desperation comes through so evidently. Like they see desperation on film.
Yeah.
And they said a lot of casting directors and producers, etc., they sense it, right? So not coming in when you see that script like, oh my gosh, I'm desperate, I need this, whatever it may be, but just saying that, again, like letting that project go after, but when you look at it, be like, I booked this is mine, you know? And so I found that to be very powerful. So.
Yeah. I agree. And I think like I was actually having this conversation with another guest as well last year. Like we're talking about like desperation, that was like a whole thing. And I think, you know, in my opinion, I think the best, I guess like antidote to desperation is having a very fulfilling life. Because again, when you stop caring that things happen for you. Yeah. And that's literally about anything in life.
Yes.
That's for dating, that's for like a job, that's for acting, that's for like, when you stop caring, right, you're more loose. You're not in your head.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what? I fully, sort of stop you there, but I fully agree with you in that. And I think to my first point about how my mindset shifted, it very much shifted ever since I donated my kidney to my dad, right? Because remember I told you I'm a kidney donor?
That's so thoughtful, honestly.
No, thank you. But after that moment, my whole life has drastically changed in terms of how short life is and how you really much have to, again, seize every opportunity and how anything can be taken away from you in an instant, that you have to do what you want to do and be happy, be grateful, be appreciative, and just really, again, if you always want to be an actor, do it. You know, stop having that fear and whatnot. And I felt like before there was a lot of desperation, you know, per se, because there's all these expectations and everything. But now for me, that my life has shifted and that I do think that life is short, that I'm just like, you know what? If not now, then when? Type of thing, right? And just, again, having zero judgment, but just, again, doing something for you first and foremost.
Yeah, so. I agree. Again, right, like it's just, I feel like, you know, I get this a lot, right? Like where people do complain about like, you know, the pay and stuff like that. And I keep telling to everyone, I'm like, honestly, I'll do it for free.
Yeah, 100%. You're doing what you love.
Honestly, like if you want to cast me, like I'm not doing this for the money.
Yeah.
Like I'm really not. Like it's, and I feel like this is why sometimes when I audition, like, you know, like where I'm in the zone, it's because I literally don't care whether I book it or not. Like, you know, like I feel like if I have like a filling life where I'm like filling my time with other stuff, where I'm not financially relying on this, it takes the pressure off.
Exactly, because that's a desperation. And I think those are the people that don't necessarily book, is because they come with a lot of ego with that as well, and you can't have that ego, right? And you're coming with it for the wrong purpose.
I love that. Let's switch gears a little bit to your because you know Julian is actually a model as well.
You're like, really?
I learned this later after bed, but it turns out he's a model as well, and he's gonna be teaching me a thing or two. Because I do want to get in that as well. Did that come later? The modeling thing, or like where did that come into the picture?
So I have always been modeling.
Okay.
Per se, when I was younger, I did a lot of photo shoots and stuff like that. And I think again, being an artist, being an actor, being an artist, being creative, you kind of come along with you're in the same circle of people, right? With other like artists. So so I was doing that for a little bit. Did a lot of shoots with a lot of photographers, like creatives and stuff. And then I remember I had this one photographer. Her name is Tracy, and I love her. I did a lot of creative shoots with her.
Tracy.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's watching.
Yeah. But so we did a lot of creative shoots together, and she was always like, do it professionally, and stuff like that. So I submitted my digitals to a modeling agency, and right away they met with me, and then now.
What made you want to model though? Like, were you like?
Life is short. That's what it was.
Again,
life is short. Seize every opportunity. If you have a slight interest in whatever it is, do it, or else you're gonna live life in regret. And we're young, we're able-bodied, we're intelligent, we, all these things that we have that we may not have when we're older. So we have to do it now. And again,
there's no better time.
Yeah, ever. Exactly.
Yeah, I love it. So for someone like myself or anyone who wants to get into modeling, where do you think they should start? I mean, maybe like take us like give us like a quick sort of a
rundown.
Rundown of like how would someone get into modeling? Like what should they get? What should they have? Where should they start?
Yeah, I think it has to be comfortability within yourself.
Okay.
When you're comfortable in your own body and you don't necessarily have that fear, that judgment of how you look like on camera, I think that's the biggest thing. Because if you're slightly, a little bit nervous or whatever, and again, that's okay, that's normal, you're human. But if you have a little bit of fear, whatever it may be, it's gonna come through. It's gonna come through in your body. And it's kind of like acting, right? Where, if we're nervous, we kind of like have a little like, little like movement that we do. Or if, little tics, or like you hold onto your necklace or whatever it may be. Things come through within your body, right? So it's the same thing when it comes to modeling as well, is that things come through if you're feeling a little bit apprehensive. I actually found myself, it's actually quite, like, when I was redoing my headshots recently, I felt so much pressure needing to take my new headshots that what actually happens is that my body tells me this, and then I get like this really heavy eyelid and it shows on camera. And even when, it's your body knows, right?
Yeah.
So that's right. I think when it comes to modeling or just being in front of the camera, you just really have to embrace the environment, feel comfortable, feel relaxed. And when through your body, you can be loose, right? And it's really funny. My friend Julie, who lives in this building as well, I always tell you.
Oh, Julie, yeah.
Julie, yeah.
Yes.
When I take photos, when I take photos of her, we always have this joke about.
As well, Julie?
So she's trying to. I'm trying to help her into it. Yeah, but we always have this running joke about soft hands, because when she gets, exactly, because when she gets, tense or whatever it may be, it shows in her hands, and her hands get stiff or hard or whatever it may be, right? So if you're relaxed, your body shows it, and then you'll feel more confident and whatnot. But it's I think that's essentially modeling, just feeling confident on camera and just
but that's
know your angles,
know your angles, best shows you. So just like more on the I guess the what do we need to get into modeling? Like,
okay. So different agencies are very different per se. But what you have to start first is your digitals. So your digitals are just photos, and they'll obviously take professional ones afterwards. So you can just take ones on like your basic iPhone if it's a good quality.
So just like for someone who doesn't know what a digital is it like a headshot?
It's like it's like their version of a headshot.
Okay.
So there'll be a full face one that's a frontal, half body as well.
Nice.
And then a full body is.
Right. So we would like take like a shot of chest up, and one from maybe the the middle body, and another one with full body.
Yeah, full body.
So that's like this is like across. The board. This is why you know, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like your comp card and everything like that. So that's what you do. And then to be more extensive, sometimes they'll take it from the side, from the back, and whatnot too. But to
and it's like neutral. Should we be like smiling or?
It depends. Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you, honestly, for myself, I like to submit various ones.
Okay.
So when I was submitting, I took one serious, one a bit more friendly, one a bit more commercial.
Okay.
Because there are different types of
You said
models,
everything,
right?
yeah.
Exactly. There's fashion modeling.
Yeah.
There's lifestyle modeling and whatnot. So I like to submit myself for a range to see where I can fit within that agency.
Mm-hmm.
So you submit those. Obviously, you don't want to be completely dolled up and everything. You still want to look like you.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of want to be that canvas still. Wear a basic white or black t-shirt, fitted jeans, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You submit that. Obviously, do your nice brief. And I think, again, it's just like acting.
Yeah.
You want to look at, a modeling agency that, aligns with you as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like to go through their roster, their list on their website to see who they also represent.
Okay.
To see.
So it's like very similar to acting.
Yeah.
I guess like you would like check their roster to see if they have someone like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it like works similarly. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. To see when there's either two things about them, whether they do have people like you,
Mm-hmm.
and if they do, how are they representing them?
Right. Yeah.
And then if they don't have something like you,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? I want to be the first one.
Yeah.
Right.
This is your moment.
Yeah, this is your moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just submitting yourself, setting your measurements as well. So your chest size, your waist, your height,
Yeah.
and everything. But again, it's the great thing about modeling now is like, yes, you have to send in your measurements, but there aren't being so strict when it comes to measurements as it was in the past.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is actually what I was going to touch on next because, I mean, we all know that modeling can actually be a very stereotypical industry as well, where sometimes height matters, right?
Yeah.
And like the way your body looks sometimes does matter. So do you feel like right now in this, in this new age, do you think like height will get in your way if you're on the shorter side, for example, or let's say like maybe you have a couple more layers and you're not quite that skinny looking model.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, go on
There
that.
is beauty when it comes to diversity.
Yeah.
Beauty. And there are so many brands that want to work with diverse people. And they want to have, again, if a brand wants to have a campaign, they want to be able to have that focus, really be able to market to everyone, right? And to, again, have that representation. So I don't really think that measurements and height are completely, fair game to be honest. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It doesn't completely.
No, because like
matter.
obviously I've heard of like things like that, like
Yeah.
especially like within the modeling
Yeah.
industry. But again, I think they're being more lenient.
There are more lenient, and you know what?
Mhm.
I think it's a more I guess it's more so focused on runway modeling. I would say where height sometimes does matter and whatnot, but then there are also a lot of brands that do runways with if their brand campaign or their brand imagery is about
I guess like also like I mean, as you said, like it depends on the brand. I feel like if like Coca-Cola were to hire a model, I don't think the height of the guy matters whether someone's gonna buy the Coca-Cola or not.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like I feel like yes, I agree. It kind of depends on the product, but if the product is maybe shoes or clothes, maybe it does maybe matter a little more in that sense. Great. Well, I mean that's good. Okay, so I think we're learning a lot just through that conversation with modeling. I want to go back to the acting a little bit. Walk us through like your first booking, okay, on set, because I feel like this is always because like this is like I mean I still remember mine and that was like so nerve-wracking. Where I was like man, I can't screw this up. Like I gotta everybody's counting on me. So like how bad were the nerves that day?
Horrible. Oh my god. It was horrible. It was for Man of the High Castle. Okay. And I was casted as a Japanese soldier. And I just remember, well, the audition in itself was very intense. And then I remember we had the full getup and everything, the full suit.
Yeah.
And I remember, because we're trying to be professional on set, right?
Yeah.
And I had to pee so badly at one point.
In the middle of the scene.
And I remember just standing there, and let me tell you, I had like it was like a one piece on. It was like a base layer, one piece, boots, all the equipment, and it took a while to put on.
Yeah, so it was heavy, right? So
my gosh,
there's some weight on you.
There was a lot of weight on me. They were running behind. They were not on schedule. The director was quite intense because again we were running behind.
Goodness.
And they were in the middle doing take after take after take, and I just remember standing there being like,
and they're not taking pee breaks.
They're not. I just remember standing there like, I am gonna, I'm gonna pee myself. And I was just standing there, I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Just like suck it up.
I know, so I suck it up. And I remember I had to. So they're like cut. I was like, I went straight to the AD. I'm like, hey, and he ran over. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, I have to pee so badly. I am so sorry. I just couldn't. And I remember I felt so bad because they had to take like everything off because there was so much layers, and I took the fastest piss of my life.
Oh
it was
God.
crazy. So that was my first booking. I think it was the pressure trying to be professional on set, that courtesy and whatnot, trying to make sure everything's rolling on time and
that being said, were the takes good though? Because I mean, like obviously like, there was like a, you had to pee, so I guess like that must have like made you feel like a certain way in your body.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that I think that always does hit your performance. That always does ahead of your performance or whatever. But again, I think you learn, and that's how you become a better actor too, right? You learn from your experiences. And sometimes, like, when you go on Google, it doesn't teach you how to do certain things sometimes, right? It's based upon experience. And, you know, and it's situational.
Did you have to speak Japanese?
No. Well, no.
That would have been nice.
I know that would have been nice. I remember, like, my audition, I had to speak Japanese.
You had to?
Yeah, and I used it for a different
nice.
character.
Yeah.
And I kept having to like press play on that Google audio thing to hear what it sounded like.
Yeah.
And then I went to all my Japanese friends to be like, hey, can you help me and stuff like that? But yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's so
yeah.
Let's talk about rejections for a bit.
Yeah.
Which is like, something that we all deal with.
I know.
On many levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel like right now you still, I guess like it's impossible not to care at all, but do you feel like you still care as much about like not getting the job?
No.
Or you really just you got to this point where you're like, you know what? Set it and forget it.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? At first, I think earlier on in my career, yes, rejection sucked. And I did not know how to process it. Yeah. Especially if there was a character or a role that you really, really, really wanted. I think the last time I felt upset over rejection was actually in 2024. So it was actually last year. Yeah. And I was so close to booking it. I was like, I had my call back with the director. There was all these conversations, and this character just, I felt like was so me. Yeah. It was
like it really resonated.
It really resonated
with your guts.
Exactly, and it was just so much fun. Actually, I lied. So there's that and another thing. But so that and I didn't get it. So that was obviously it hurt because you get so far and you really envisioned yourself. And but you can't help it. You can't help to be upset. You're human, right?
Yeah. I mean, of course, you feel something.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the other time I was I was shortlisted for 3 different projects all at the same time, and each 3 of those projects I was shortlisted for, my scene partner were all Hollywood celebrities, like A-list, and
you're just like this little random guy.
Oh yes, and I wanted.
You're a day player.
Yeah, I wanted it because I was like, these are like actors who I grew up with and I love, and just to share, a scene with them would be fantastic, right?
It would be,
and not even just for
give us like some names so we can.
Elizabeth Olsen. Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen was one.
Yes.
There's a few.
Great.
Yeah, Owen Wilson was another. It was just like a lot. Yeah, it was fantastic. So I was very and when I met him twice.
Since like he made Anaconda.
Yeah, I met him a few times.
Remember that movie?
Yeah, so and they're actually doing a remake of Anaconda.
They are?
Yeah.
There's like 17 movies.
Yeah, they're redoing it. Wow. Yeah. But so anyways, so that was that. But you know what? There was a certain element of like, I think the day of, like, you're quite upset and whatnot. Or when you don't actually hear back, because you never really hear back, I should say. But like, you know what? Filming has already started.
Like, it's very similar to like when you get an interview for a job where you literally only get contacted if you get the job.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't get it, then you just get ghosted.
Yeah, exactly. So you go through all these steps, your shortlist, whatever it may be, and then all of a sudden you're waiting a few days to a few weeks. Like, okay, well, production has already started for that episode, whatever it may be. So at first it was like, bummed, like, oh man, But then I remind myself that I had this opportunity to even just act or to go this far, that you have to take everything as a win. Yes. And again, life is short. That's my motto for everything.
Yes, I think that's the bottom line. Yeah, that's what it boils down to. Because I'm hearing like all these beautiful things right now. The modeling, the acting, all these like amazing things.
I hope I'm making sense of everything I'm saying.
No. Life is too short, but I can't help it to ask, what is the end goal here?
Yeah.
So what is the dream?
Yeah.
Paint us a picture of like the ideal scenario.
Yeah.
If you could be like, you could have like anything you want. If like, what is the finish line for Julian right now?
You know what? This is gonna sound so cheesy, but my end goal is just happiness.
Yeah.
My end goal is to walk out of this world feeling happy with what I
lived a good
accomplished.
life.
I lived a good life. I have done or tried to seize every opportunity that I wanted without having regrets, right? Again, acting has always been such a passion of mine ever since I was younger, you know, and to live a life knowing that I did not pursue it fully would give me so much, you know, distress and everything.
Sure.
So it's just making sure that I'm happy at the end of the day, being able to obviously, you know, provide for my parents and whatnot.
It's always about like, this is life. It's, you know, give and take, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. Again, life is full of all these wonders. We want to make sure that we do stop and smell the roses. And everything,
so I guess like if I want to go like a layer deeper, from an acting standpoint, what would make you happy? Like acting wise.
You know what would make me happy acting wise is just working consistently, I would say. Right,
being like a working actor.
Being a working actor.
So like if you don't like make it to Hollywood, like if you don't like become like a celebrity, that's fine.
That's that's perfectly fine, because I think a big part of that is ego, right? A lot of people who say I want to make it to Hollywood, that just means that they have this big ego, not big ego, but they have this ego ahead of them. And again, they're maybe in it for the wrong reasons. Right? I think for a lot of us wanting to be actors is just to be creative. Right? To tell a story.
I think like this kind of like reminded me like when we were in class together with Ben. And a lot of like, this is something I hear a lot, and a lot of like the greatest actors, the reason why they're doing so well is because they have like this thing called the why. They have a strong why. They have a very big, like, meaningful reason as to why they're doing what they're doing. And it's so strong, and like it's like they have it in them that it manifests, you know, through their acting, that like, you know, like you could tell like how much this person wants this. Now, I remember like Ben said something where like one of the whys for one person was like you wanted to become famous.
I know, I remember that girl.
You wanted to become famous.
And guess what? She did it.
Yes, he did it. And like sometimes it goes to show like, you know, if you have a strong why, even if that means like, you know, becoming famous, becoming a celebrity, and he made it, right?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
It goes to show that like.
Well, it's that manifestation that we were talking about earlier, right? Saying that like I booked it, whatever it may be. But I think for myself, it's like, yes, it's great for whoever if they want to be famous or whatnot. Like, you know, kudos to them and everything. But I just think for myself, like coming out of the end of it, I'm not going to feel happy with myself per se, because that's not my why. My why is just to be a storyteller, you know, and my why is to be able, again, back to that teaching aspect, is to allow, to be a medium and to be a representation for people who are younger to have a voice and whatnot, and be a part of that progression, you know, because again, when I was younger, I didn't have somebody to look up to, you know, in film and television. So to be a representation for someone now in film and television, I think would be fantastic.
It would be. A lot of us, like, I mean, I still don't feel this way like towards like what I'm about to say next, but a lot of us actually do have aspirations as also like, you know, making some sort of like getting some sort of involvement behind the camera. Right? Like directing, producing. Is that something that's on the table for you? Like, do you feel like you want to get to that realm? You know what? I have talked to a few people within our community of maybe doing a project together. I think because we watch so much film and television as well, and we like to see what's local in Vancouver, what films here and everything. Sometimes, or there's a role that you really want to play, but you don't really see it out there just yet. Sometimes you're like, you know what? Again, life is short. Why not take responsibility? Why don't you start that? Create the opportunity. Create the opportunity for yourself, right? So I've talked to a few people, be like, you know what? Why don't we just create our own short or whatever, maybe, or make it as an independent, and have a story that we want to really tell, you know, that makes us feel fulfilled, and have that be a passion project of ours. I don't think I want to be so like hands-on with it, you know. I think I would like to be conceptually, like, you'll be the concept or whatever. Maybe be involved in casting, obviously act in it and whatnot, but I don't think the directing is for me. I am very, my personality though, I do like to, you know, have a voice and everything, but I just don't think I would want to have a voice throughout the whole, you know. No, I agree. I mean, sometimes there are some like some things that I've watched, like, you know, like whether that's cartoon or like an anime or something, and I'm like, oh, I wish they had like a live adaptation for
Yeah,
this.
100%.
I feel like this character, like I feel like I could like bring it to life.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I want to know like what would be like one of the most, I guess, embarrassing / funny moments. And don't tell me the peeing moment because like that was amazing. But was there a moment at any point on set where you felt like embarrassed / like, oh man, I fucked it up, or it was funny and you're like, I don't know,
Yeah.
something that was like really memorable,
In a negative or positive way?
whichever.
Yeah. I think I'll do both.
Okay.
I think the most positive one that I had was for So Help Me Todd.
Yeah.
My co-stars and I, like, it was us three, and we got to, the director allowed us to have this freedom of just going to town and to improv, and
Right.
it was
Forget
just,
the lines.
forget the lines.
Do what you want to do.
Oh my gosh, and just the
That's
direction
amazing.
of it.
Yeah.
It was like we were like in a circle, and the camera was just circling us the whole time.
Yeah.
And the vision of it just seemed fantastic. The sassiness of it seemed fantastic.
And you guys were like doing whatever you wanted.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
nothing.
it was so funny, and we all just had so much chemistry with one another.
Oh my God.
And I just remember we were filming till so late, and I remember a lot of the crew were like, oh my gosh, we had such a long day.
Mhm.
And me and Matt, one of my co-stars, and him and I just hit it off. He's fantastic. But we were like,
Yeah.
they were driving us back to set,
Yeah.
and we were with like hair and makeup and all these people, and him and I were just chit-chatting away because the energies were so high. We were just so happy about how everything went.
Yeah.
And whatnot. I remember the third co-star was like, Julian, everyone behind you is just like, shut up. We just want to go home and go to sleep.
A lot of these guys like the camera, the boom guy's like, I can't hold this mic any
I
longer.
know, yeah, they were just tired, right? They wanted to be over with it, but him and I were like, no, chatting away. But there was that, and then I think that the negative one that I had was for the project that's not out yet. That's coming out next year.
Nice.
I think I was just more so.
That's the one that you were in Kelowna for?
No, I filmed here.
Okay.
Yeah, but there was a lot of prosthetics involved.
Yeah.
And I had to wear like
Prosthetics involved?
Yeah, like a beard and
Oh
everything.
my God.
And the person in makeup who put my beard on, unfortunately, did not apply it the right way.
Ooh.
So right before it was supposed to, and that, let me tell you,
I see
because
where this is going.
I was on set for a full week, and
Yeah.
the first day had all my scenes on the first day were with the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very big, intense scenes. And right before I was gonna go on, the number 1 makeup artist looked at me and was like, Julian? I was like, yeah. And she's like, what the F happened? And I'm like, what? She's like, who put your beard on? And I was like, I'm not gonna say names, like, I can't recall, right? She's like, you can't go out like this. You can't go out like this. And then they're like, where's Julian? We need Julian on set. And because it was applied so
wrongly
per se. And the thing was, I actually developed a rash from it because the amount of times they had to strip the lace out, put rubbing alcohol to clean it, then put new gel in, and then the hair got all
So, was there something wrong with the beard on your face that made them be like?
I think they kept applying it over and over again, and
Okay.
it was not even and everything
was
too.
not like
and then they were trimming it, they were cutting it.
Oh.
So a lot of the pieces of the hair were going into my lip. Then the other piece of the hair were going up my nose.
Like, I didn't notice any of this.
Yeah.
Because you were like shooting. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, and when you're trying to talk, you don't want to always think about the hair up your nose or going into your mouth. And when I was talking, because the lace was so dry, when I would move my mouth, it would start to peel off.
Oh my God.
So I was just like, oh my gosh, like when you're trying to deliver your dialogue, you're like,
wow. Did they catch this on camera?
that was it, right? Like every time I would talk, you would just see the beard like pop out, whatever it may be. And it was just like, I was just so in my head after. I was like, oh no, why?
So you did notice it, right?
Oh, what? You could not notice it.
So what, like, you didn't want to say something? Like, you didn't want to...
No, well, after every take, they came back up and they were fixing
so they were touching you up.
So they were touching me up every single take,
Okay.
but the thing is, to touch it up, they had to peel the whole... Granted, it took 2 hours to apply this on day 1.
Wow.
So imagine 2 hours of applying a beard on you to then having to take it fully off and put it back on between each take and only have a few minutes per each take to do it. It was
A shit show.
A shit show. It was crazy. It was but you know what? Nonetheless, it was such a fantastic. Like rather than that, like I was just so. What when you're in your head because that's all happening, I just had to stop and I just had to look around the set because the production was.
Yeah.
It's like I think it's 25 million per each episode, the budget.
Wow.
Yeah, and I just so it was a beautiful set, and I remember just like when I had that moment of feeling a little bit of anxiety.
And that's one that hasn't come out yet, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I was having a little bit of anxiety, yeah.
I'll make sure to be paying attention.
Don't pay to know.
Zoom on the mustache when it comes out. I was like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I guess like my advice was like, again, like you have a little bit of anxiety because you're feeling a little bit stressed or whatever. But I just took a look around the set and kept reminding myself that again, like life is short. Seize the opportunity. You're here. You got this. And give yourself that pep talk, and it just really helped kind of push forward the scene of my day.
So love it.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, cool. I think before the end of the podcast, I think I really like to wrap up the episode with this question.
Yeah.
So, well, first of all, like this new year, I know like you're going through this transformational journey.
Yes.
Kind of like filled me on a little bit. First of all, like, do you want is there anything like you're looking forward to this year? Whether that's like resolution wise or maybe there are some projects that you're currently in the works. Yeah, like what are you looking for this year?
You know what? What I am looking forward to for 2025 is just feeling more mentally well in terms of doing something for me, taking charge and choices over my life. As I mentioned to you, I was working 9 to 5 as well while being an actor, and
so now we're done.
We're done the 9 to 5.
No more 9 to 5. We're focusing on acting and all these.
Exactly, being a creative and all these different. Again, this is why Julie doesn't sleep, not just because of the partying, but because of
doesn't
work.
Sleep.
I know because
New York of.
I know, because outside of full-time jobs, I had all these other projects that I work on and modeling and acting, all that stuff. So just focusing on being a creative instead. I think I'm just really happy that I'm making a choice for myself, and now I get to be in control over my own schedule and dictate, my own. I get to dictate my own happiness, I think, and I think that's really important. That's going to show through, in every single avenue that I'm gonna go into.
I love it. I'm so stoked for you.
Thanks.
I can't wait to talk about this in a year from now. Be like, remember
everyone quit your 9 to 5.
I remember when you had everyone kids quit school.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So this is it for this episode. Julian Lao, everybody.
Thanks.
What a pleasure. What a absolute honor to have you on this podcast. And I've been wanting to have you for a while. So thank you guys for listening, for watching again. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. But until next time, again, Happy New Year, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.